Check. There you go, you're live. You're working.
The little microphone decided not to work this morning. Evidently it's working now. So I'll start again. Good morning everybody, I hope you can hear me now. Yes Stuart, I had turned the mic on. It wasn't that. What happens with OBS, when you close it down at the end of a demo and start it back up again, I think the little computer gremlins go, oh, it might have coronavirus, mightn't it? Yeah, overheated or something. Gotcha, good. Right, morning all. Morning everybody that I've missed. Morning Hans from Sweden. Fred's gotcha. Morning Robert, morning Lee, morning Patrick, Wivey, Stuart. Morning Martin. Morning Morley. Morning. We should be starting, but we've only just got on. Morning Derek. We've only just got on. So, morning Michael. Morning Paul. Morning Andrew. Morning Steve. People are woken up now. Morning Colin. Morning Mick. We'll get going in just a few minutes. Morning Nick. Morning Trevor. I'm still here, just wandering around. Right, I'm back. You'll see across the bottom of your screen at the moment, today I've launched into a new brand, so I'll give it a plug while we're here. Hamlet, that the right way up, that the way up. Hamlet Woodturning Tools. Yeah, Hamlet. It was about time we did something new. We've stuck with salt beef since I started Oliver's Woodturning, and I just thought, well, let's have something new. So Hamlet, I think, are a good quality tool, a little bit cheaper, so it gives people a choice now. So we've got Hamlet in the house. And to launch Hamlet, what I'm doing is there's a code on the bottom of the screen, it's down in the text as well. We're doing a 10% Hamlet launch. So that's Hamlet. So what we're going to do today, we're going to get dirty with Unicorn Spit. Unicorn Spit is another product that we've started doing. If you look on the website, I'm now setting up an art department, because what I've found over the time is I've gone out and found arty things that I can play with, and I go off to this shop or that shop, or I go online trawling through. But when you ask people, oh, what does it do on wood? Well, I can do this, can I do that? They don't know, they don't even know what wood turning is. So I decided, keep it in one place, and we're building an art department, so we've launched spray guns and stuff. But this product, Unicorn Spit, is a colour, and you can do lots with it. You can water it down to dye wood and all sorts of stuff. So over the next couple of 3 weeks, I'm just going to show you a few things that you can use it for, to give you an idea of some of the products, and then we'll continue to do that as we go through these demos. Okay, so morning everybody that's just joined. We'll get going. What we're going to do today is I've just got a little sycamore blank, and we're going to turn the face what would be a bowl. Now we're not going to be able to turn a bowl because we're going to colour it, and then I'm going to show you a couple of pieces that I've been messing around with, and then we'll turn one of them so you can see the idea. You have got to let the stuff dry, and depending how thick you put it on and depending how warm it is how long it takes to dry. So there's no sort of set in stone, 5 minutes later you're ready to go. You're looking at a day, 2, 3, whatever. So little sycamore blank. Now the reason I've chose this little sycamore blank is it's got a few problems. It's got a little hollow in the front here, and it's got a crack in it. So this would be a bit of crack wood that with the crack you'll think, oh, it's not worth turning, I'll throw that away. But you can do something with it. So this is what I'm going to show you today. I've pre-drilled a 50mm hole in the back so I can just bang it straight on the drawers. So we'll come over to our overhead camera. There's our blank. This is called a chuck, just here. And now we're just going to mount this blank onto the lathe by giving that a tap on and then expanding the jaws into that pre-drilled hole. I'll make sure it's on there like so. It's nice and solid. I can bring my tool rest up as per normal. You know the drill. You can tell me. So bring the tool rest up, adjust it to height, just pinch it up, then turn the blank by hand to make sure that don't happen. There we go. You don't ever want to turn it on and not do that, because if you're not right and you come down it at a sharp point, especially if you forget and turn it on full speed, bang, and she can come flying off the lathe. Just for extra security, as per normal, tailstock up, wind the old elbow stabber in, formerly known as a live centre, and now we're trapped between centres and on a chuck, so don't get safer than that. Turn the speed down, 0, push the green button for go, turn the speed up slowly and make sure she's spinning okay. Grab a pair of safety specs. I tend to use safety specs when I'm demonstrating. Actually, while I'm waffling, I'm going to go mad and actually clean the safety specs. It's all very well having safety specs, but I think they ought to be cleaned so you can see out of them. When I'm demoing, I normally do safe pieces of wood. Safety specs are enough. If ever I'm doing anything that is remotely, well, this is a bit dodgy, then it's always a face shield. So now we're going, we can turn the lathe speed up.
Aren't those the blanks you normally send to Mike?
No, I've never said Mike Wall anything as good as this. We're just up to about 1100 RPM. We're going to use the old Simon Hope double ender there, and I've got the long grind. So tool into my side, slide the tool up the rest, lift the handle, get the bevel rub, and just glide through. In the first couple of cuts, just bringing it round to bring it into balance. Nice and gentle, no heroics. Just travel the tool along the rest at the speed the wood is coming over the cutting edge. Simple as that. The tool stays in my side. And away we peel the shavings. There we go. That's got a nice and round, nice pile of wispy shavings. Just what any wood turner wants to see. Now, I used to, when I started turning, would get a blank like this and just turn it down to nothing, just learning the tilt and control of the tool. And there's quite a lot of fun in just turning a piece of wood into nothing, not making anything at all. So now we've got that, we'll start putting a bit of shape in the back. So I just pick up the back of the bevel, lean my handle towards the lathe, twist my body in and start forming my curve. Same again, back of the bevel, lift my handle, twist my body in, raise the handle as I go and just start forming my curve. I really must put a bucket on the floor to catch the shavings. Save me sweeping up. Nice sharp gouge. Don't have to force anything. Nice and slowly round. There. You see we've got a good finish off the tool. Technically cutting the wrong way because we're cutting down and we haven't got the supporting fibres of the grain. But I'm just going to bring my tool rest around, raise it up a bit, because now I'm just going to face off the blank a little bit. It's only a little blank, about 8 inches, sycamore. And just face off this blank. Actually, I'm going to bring the tool rest round so it's parallel with the base. Back there. And now we're just going to come in, pick up the back of the bevel, little lift, lean forward, and as we go into the centre, just raise our hand. Nice and gentle, gentle, gentle. Bring that in somewhere there. So now we'll just mark off where our spigot is going to go. I had to clean up this morning, can't find a thing. Far better when it's dirty. So, want my spigot around about might as well stay overhead for a minute. So left point in, start scribing the line the line up so it lines up with the right hand point, left hand point, a little bit of pressure. We know that's centre now. There. So now we can carry on bringing our shape round, building our foot and building a little bit of waste wood to build our spigot. So what I'm going to do first of all, just pick this up here. Build out a bit of wood just purely to turn the spigot with. I'm just going to stop just short of the line, somewhere there. I'll get one more bit, I think. Has that been all the way along?
No, just for this bit here. Where's the Yeti? There's the Yeti. We're all good. We're back. We're back.
Hello again, everybody. The microphone is going to be killed in a while. I'm going to put it on the lathe between centres and attack it with a skew. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Put your computer between centres, turn the speed up and get in there with the biggest bowl gouge you've got. Teach them a lesson. I like to do that with the open reach engineers. Open reach engineers, any of you watching, you all live in Spain because everything seems to be mañana. Mañana never comes. We're still waiting to hear from them. No broadband. Well, no fibre broadband. So I'm just looking at this curve. I just want to level it out a little bit here. So let me just pick up a cut here. There. Lessen that off a bit there, so I lose the cut as I reach the foot, something like that. That's a bit nicer shape, and a little bit I didn't like there. So there's the basic outside shape of our bowl. Simple as that, simple as. And now we'll just cut that spigot for the jaws. So I'm coming in here, raising my tool rest up, because you know the drill. I use my skew as a scraper. Just come in here, up to the line, and now I just want to get nice flat shoulder, clear them whiffs off, wispy shavings, whisper, the chocolate bar that never ends. Right, just a tad out there, I thought it was. I really should wear glasses when I'm turning these days. Ooh, third time lucky. Just like a little bump there. This is really more for the foot at the moment, I think. Right, that should do us. There we go. So now we've got our little spigot cut on there. Tail stocks away. Remove the elbow stabber. Morning, Shay. 10 lines, I mustn't be late in the morning. I bet most of us can't remember being back at school. Joe can. He's a teacher. Had to go in and face the flak Thursday. Why didn't little Johnny get the grades he deserved? Unfortunately, the teachers have come up against it a bit in the last week, as you've seen. They spent weeks agonising over grades for the government to say, let's have an algorithm to sort it all out. For the government to then say, just pinch the spigot up, quarter of a turn, don't over tighten it. For the government then to say, oh, we're going to change our mind, we'll use the grades. Poor students didn't have a clue what was going on, nor did the teachers, nor did anybody else. So what I'm looking at is at the spigot point here, That's running nicely there. It looks out on the top just up here by my finger because we've not done anything with that. So now we're just going to turn the face off, but we're only going to turn it off flattish. Flattish, I'll show you. So, somewhere there, and just a gentle cut in. As we go in, just raise the handle, travel along the tool rest. There's a bit of banging there, and what it is, there's a knot with a split in it. Just over here, there's a couple of knots, 1, 2, both got big holes in them. We're not worried about them. We're going to turn down, and we could fill them for this, to be fair. Well, so the paint don't disappear in. A little tip, when you're turning wood like this that have got splits and cracks in, I mean, I'm looking at that, it looks nice and solid, but always listen while you're turning, because if you hear a noise that you haven't heard before, you want to stop the lathe quick and double check it, just to make sure it ain't about to open up and go bang, because that's not a lot of fun. Now this is my final little cutting. There, said my final little cutting. I enjoyed it so much, I'm going to do another one. There, and that'll do us. A little bit of torn grain there, let's get rid of that. I'm just gonna draw the gouge back out, fine cut. Another one. I'm just trying to tidy up the grain here really. If you're going to cover something in paint, you want the grain to be clean underneath, otherwise it will show through the paint, guaranteed. Real fine cut, quite dusty. That's tidied it up. Right, so now, can you whip that extractor on for us, Joe, please? Joe's going to turn on. I've got an automatic extractor, it's called Joe. Only on a Saturday morning. The rest of the time I've got no extractor at all. Sounds like a bit of wood went for a walk there.
Yeah, a bit lash or something.
Let's go mad, new sanding pad. So we're just going to come in here and sand this off. We're not sanding too far. That'll do that. And we're just going to go to 240, I think. Probably only have to go to 180 to be fair. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's good enough. Now, we have got a couple of holes and we're going to tip paint onto this. So what I might do is just put a bit of super glue in them. Bit of instant filler, super glue. Put a bit of super glue in that one. He says. That's it. Bit of super glue in that one. Just in the knot there. Bit of towel rather than your finger. Wipe it around. You can use your finger, of course. Not great. And then just going to give that another sand just quickly. And let the dust fill the cracks. The first crack was a bit thicker than I thought for, so let's just fill them. Bit in there, bit on there. Paper towel that in there. The reason I paper towel it is so it don't spin up all over me. That's better, that's got them. So, we'll just go there, 180 again. There. So now we've got a pre-prepared little blank. You notice I've done nothing with the outside at the moment. And you'll see why in just a few minutes. So, let's take this out of the chuck. There's a little blank, quite a pretty little blank actually. It's got a nice ripple coming. Get that on the camera. A nice ripple coming through here. You should just pick up. With the we're back on overhead, so nice ripple coming through here, and a couple of knots. There's a lot of feature in it, so it would make, and with the patination of the wood, would make just a pretty little bowl. You can see a sheen on it as well already, just on its own. But unfortunately for this little bowl, it's going to meet its fate of paint. Well, not any old paint, the old unicorn spit. So, here we got a board covered in paint. To make it a little clearer, you could hit that extraction off, please, Joe. My remote control extractor unit knows how to switch on, but don't know how to switch off. So, just putting a bit of paper towel across there. Now, the only reason I'm putting paper towel across there is the paint underneath is wet. So, because I was messing around with this last night. I've messed around with it a bit, but I did another little thing last night, and I didn't clean the board off, and this morning I didn't have time to clean the board off, so I thought, oh, I know, I'll just put a bit of paper towel on it. There we go. The only reason I'm putting paper towel on it is because I don't want the paint all over the back and chill in a bit. So, there's our blank. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this unicorn spit, and we're going to use a technique called a dirty pour. Let's get dirty with unicorn spit. I think we only need 1 cup. So we get a cup. And we're first going to add a bit of this product. Now this product is called Flow-Trol. Where's the camera? There, Flow-Trol. Left a bit. Bernie the bolt, up a bit, down a bit, left a bit, right a bit, stop, fire! Now what this does, this thins the paint, but keeps it of a good consistency for this. So we use about 3 parts flow control. And then we select our colours from the unicorn spit colour range. There's various colours: teal blue, green or teal green. There's 14 in total colours, and then there's 6 glitter colours, so you can really get into it. There's a yellow. So what we're going to use is we're going to use a blue, a green and a yellow, and I think we might use a deeper green there, and then we want something to give it a bit of panache, so we use a bit of white, and let's try a bit of violet. Right, so we get our unicorn spit. Over on the side here, not brought to the lathe because I forgot, some little wooden sticks. This is just to stir it up, a bit like a song. So I've got my flow control with a shaving in the pot. The shaving is not supposed to be in the pot, but somehow it's got in there. This is the trouble with wood turning with paint. You should always clean everything up first. So hold on, if I brush off my smock, that might make life easier. So we're going to go in,
And to avoid shavings in your pot, cover it in cling film.
yeah, it's another way. So give it a good shake, and we'll add the green. Now I'm going to make the green the base colour, so I'm going to put in about 50% to the volume of the flow control, a little bit under, and then with my stick, you see that there, I'm just mixing this in, and that will give us a nice solid green. And then once I've done that, if I want it a darker green, I can add a bit more unicorn spit green, and if I'm happy with the green, that'll do us. Somewhere there. Yeah, lovely. There's the green. Just like that. Then I can add in my yellow, I think. Give that a shake up. Always make sure the tops are done up. Otherwise, know what happens? You get it in your eye. Paint goes everywhere. Gary, I'm glad you spotted that. I'm glad you're awake. Yes, there was 2 shavings. 2. It's going to add texture. So, bit of yellow. In there, and then we'll add a bit of blue, like that, Yeah, a bit of mauve. Mauve looks good. Let's just get that cap. I ain't used mauve before, so it's got a cap. It comes with a sealed foil cap, so it don't leak when you're sending it out. Bit of mauve, just listen to it, make sure it's all moving about. It's quite thick stuff. You can water this down, ordinary water, to sort of 60% water to 40% paint, or 70-30 even, and you can make it into a just like a water dye, so you still see the grain. Unfortunately this grain's going, so there, let's put some mauve in there, put that in there, and then lastly, make sure that top's done up, drop of white. You just play with the colours. Colour wheel's a good thing to mess around with. I didn't, I've just gone all in. I'm no good at poker. All in. It's the only word I know. All in. Right, so now I've put a little bit of white in there, not too much. I don't want the white overtaking. Now I can give that just a gentle stir around in there, just to blend it through. There.
At this point you're not aiming to mix the colours, you're aiming to try and marble them.
Woo! Joe's chipped in. Now, Joe actually was an art scholar, so he does understand colour and that.
Which is why I'm looking at you using green and purple and thinking, oh, did.
You watch this. Now another product you can put into this sort of stuff is silicone oil, and it has an effect. So let's try it. Let's try it all in. Bit of silicone oil in the cup, just a few drops. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll do. And then we'll just give it just a last little stir with the silicone oil. Silicone oil can fragment the cells if we're lucky. So I'll just push that through there. There.
Would it work with poster paint? What sort of poster paint?
I would think so. I would think so.
Well, no, it depends. If it's an acrylic poster paint, then yeah, it probably would.
Right, acrylic poster paint. What you want is sort of thick acrylic paints.
If it's an emulsion type poster paint, then no, it wouldn't.
Yeah, if it's too thin. So this unicorn spit is really thick, so it works really well. You want a thick paint. If it's too thin, when you start tipping them in, they just blend in straight away, and it will become brown if you put in too many colours. With this, if you can see in the camera, if I lift that up, you can see the colours are in there, but they've not really sort of just merged into one wash of colour. So now the fun. We get the blank on top of the cup.
Blank cup black.
Yeah. He just nicked me joke. I was going to go blank cup blank. Blank cup. Right, so we're now on there. We turn it over. Give it a tap, and when we lift it up, the rabbit will pop out. Ha ha ha.
Just like
right. So we just let that drain down for a second or so. Now the other thing you've got to mess around with this stuff is getting your volumes right. So, you know,
it's already coming out.
The more you do, the more you'll get to know, right, I need about that much in a cup, you know, 1/4 of a cup for a little blank like this, and I need 3 cups for a big blank, and so on and so forth. So once it's given time to drain down a bit, we then just lift the cup and let it pour out. There. Give it a shake. And now we just rock it around the blank. You see why I haven't touched the outside, because this is obviously going to come all over the edges. At this point, what I should have done is put my gloves on. In fact, I'm going to do that now. Hold on, pair of gloves. Because this is all going to come over the edge, all over me, all over the bench, all over the lathe. But it's not flying around. You can, if you wanted to, put it on a Lazy Susan and spin it by hand. I wouldn't put it on the lathe like this and spin it. Well, you could, it'd be funny. So we keep twisting this. And all we're doing is covering the surface of the bowl. Try to get that back in camera, left a bit, right a bit, there we go. Go on, paint, cover that last bit. You can do it, you can do it. Right, so now we're covered. So what you can do now, if you wanted to, you can just move it around a bit, because it will keep moving. And depending on your colour mix, if you want to get a bit more blue, we've got a green area down there, we tip it down so a bit more blue sort of oozes down into that area. And you keep tipping and you get the effect or the colours that you want. You do different colour combinations. This looks a little bit dark to my taste, so I could have done with a bit more yellow or something, but the paint's layered, so because we've put the silicone in it, we should get some cells that fracture come through. There's a couple of air bubbles. Now what a lot of them use is a Bullet torch, chef's Bullet torch. I tried using the flamethrower, but my flamethrower is not very good. So we got Mrs. Oliver's hairdryer back. I put it onto a hot setting and a real slow speed, and I just want to come over any air bubbles. See if we can open them up a bit. Now I did this yesterday. I turned the hairdryer on and you guessed it, there was a load of rubbish in the end of the hairdryer. So away she went, whoosh, with a load of rubbish straight on me paint. So from all my experimenting, what I've seen online and stuff, get yourself one of the little chef torches. That'll be the best way to
Nick, go
do this.
away. I can stop you from typing.
Naughty Michael. Right, so there. Now, if we blew that harder,
If you push that up a little bit, like away from you.
away from me,
Yeah.
you only want to see me move it because I'll take my gloves off.
Now I want to zoom in a bit, try and pick up some of the colours. And then move it into the top right corner a bit more. Top left corner, sorry.
Joe's getting me at it. Look,
Back a little bit.
look. Hey, I had gloves on so that
Back.
I didn't get covered in paint. Took the gloves off and Joe says, move that there, move that there.
There you go, stop. There you go.
Stop fire, look, covered. Covered in paint again.
It is very shiny.
Right, it's quite shiny. You're not seeing the true colours here, but we got the blues and the greens.
Only
Bit
turn that one light off.
white coming through here. And as this fragments, there's different shades. It looks marbly, but you can mess around with the colours and get all sorts of effects. Now, something you can do, so I'll show you a couple that I've done, and then we'll get on to the idea of a finish. Joe's trying to block the light out for you, so you can see the colours a bit more in that. You'll see the colours in this next one.
That's got it. Just need to somehow take that up.
Right, so
We've got black wrap on one upstairs.
this one was done last night.
Configure video button. Use the mouse, click the configure video button.
Hold on, what's going on?
Try and do this. So I'm just going to zoom out for you. Might have to hold a bit of paper to stop the glare.
Right, hold on. Joe's messing around with the camera again.
There you go.
Hold on, steady. And he's going to try and hold a bit of paper so you can see more of the colour. So that one was done yesterday, and what I did there is put the paint on thick and hit it with the air gun at full pelt, and it's textured it and let the colour explode, and that's drying at the moment, so that's still wet. If we was to spin that on the lathe, Michael, Joe would get covered in paint, I would get covered in paint, and unfortunately for you, Mrs. Oliver's walked into the room, she would get covered in paint, and you would be in deep trouble. So there's one that's done there. So
Shiny.
now, whoop, this piece here was a test piece, so I did numerous pours on this. So if I get here, you can see here I've poured, but then I've pulled back, so I breaks the colours through. Here's just a pour with a lot of white and reds and a bit of black. This one was a lot more black with some reds and yellows, and you get this sort of strata effect here. And that one's a bit more open, so you get the complete picture of the different things you can do with this. So what I'm going to do now, so that's what's known as a dirty pour. It's quite dirty because I've got shavings dripping into me paint. It's just not what we wanted. I've got to move the whole board, and nothing but the board, over out the way. Just get rid of that. So much the same as when we do a coloured rim bowl and use different tech colours and spraying and all the rest of it, we can do whatever with this. Now, just to show you that, I'm just going to tidy this. This is a piece of wood I use as a practice piece for stuff like this. It's on a faceplate ring. It never gets finished. So I test ideas out on it. It's getting thinner and thinner, and it will get to the point in its life where it is no more. And I'll need another board.
Yes, hang on, no, you can. You can pour more on top, or you could try moving the stick through the paint.
Oh yeah, you could do. Hold on, if you want to see different effects. Hold on. Yeah, you can add to it.
Take that off. We can just let the side camera.
No, we're going to bring the board back. You can add to it. You can. If I know how the lathe chuck key works, I'll get the.
I was going to say, because you've done loads of different effects on that.
Right. So, let me. Realistically, when you're messing with paint, as I've said before, you want to clean everything down. So if I bring this back over, we got a shot on camera. Joe's going to cover the light.
I think it might be worth sticking something over that light just.
We'll put some black wrap on it next.
Yeah. Right.
We're just going to get an airbrush out. I'm going to get covered.
I've just gone for the compressor. I'm going to get my own back on Joe now. He made me pick up wet paint. So, just with an airbrush.
Because he doesn't.
I've just got to wait for some air to come into me compressor. Right, so let's use a stick first of all, and if we carefully pull this, it's not working so well to pull, and you won't be able to see too much of that. You can pull it down and create swirls and stuff in the paint, and then as you pull it down you can create a pattern. No, it still ain't got enough air in my airbrush. If we wanted to add to that,
The owner, I'm stood behind the lathe, but I don't think that counts.
we wanted to add to that, we could, let's shake the yellow up, come in and just putting a couple of drips of yellow, or any colour you like obviously, and then with a stick we could draw that in and blend it.
Yeah, he's gone too far.
Now you got to be careful on how far you go with it, but more fun is this. Get the airbrush and get the airbrush on it. Still not quite enough in there. And then blow it around. Just blow that one around. Oh, we need a bit more air. I've got an airline. With a big air gun. That'll do it. Explosions of colour. So that's just while we're messing around. Put a few drops of white in here. And we can blend them in while it's wet. You can play with this for ages.
This is the point where you spend more time doing artistic stuff than you do actually wood turning. As Mike Walt says, you watch paint dry.
So you can just airbrush it, stick it. Ain't got any big paintbrushes out, but if you've got a big paintbrush, you could draw a paintbrush through it or all sorts of stuff. You can have a little cluster of sticks.
How solid does it set?
It sets solid. Like proper paint. So if we use 3 sticks here and just create something through, and you can just keep playing with it and adding a bit more colour until you get something like that you want to have. I mean, you can have so much fun with it.
And if it doesn't work, you can turn it off and start again.
That's what we'll do. So, you know, I could get the big airline and give it a real blow around.
Stop it. I will ban you from typing.
So,
You said it would have been more fun spinning it at 2,500 RPM.
so that you can mess around with on and on and on. And play with your combination of colours. If you look it up online, some of the artists out there do some amazing looking sort of psychedelic flowers with it and stuff like that. But that was just a quick sort of demo. Now I've lost me thread. Now I found me thread.
Thank you, Pat. Very kind.
Cheers, Pat. Thank you very much. I didn't even realise you was with us this morning. So, let's expand our chuck. So this is just on a faceplate, this old blank. And as I was saying earlier, I use it to experiment on. And then when this piece of wood is done, I'll get another piece of wood. Sometimes I keep them. So if I was doing this properly, I can bring this around now and me paint's overrun me edge and me back, and I can just tidy it up with me turning tools and do whatever I want to do with it. So if I turn the speed down, I just put the blank on. I did do it up. Turn it up a little bit. Get me gouge. First of all, I just do a couple of light cuts on the outside. I'm just picking this up a real fine cut. That needs a bit more. I'm going to come the other way so I don't damage the paint on the front. Well, it doesn't matter if I do on this, but there, let's have a look. And it's still got a little way to go. I think that tool, this is an old oak board, so it's quite dense. You need a real sharp tool with it. But let's just come in with this now. That's better. See what difference that made changing the tool. So it just shows the tool was a little blunt. So now we've cleaned the edge up. We can come round the front. I'm not going to bowl this because there's not a lot of wood there to bowl. So, but I've got a cone in the middle, so I could just come round here, pick up the back of the bevel. I'm leaning across the lathe, handle towards my body. I'm just rolling my wrist into the bottom there, and then just for the idea of this, what I've got to be careful of, the reason that it's cone like that in the middle, is I'm on a faceplate and my screws are coming in, and I must not too far off of my screws now. But I can come in here like this, come back the other way, and what I'm doing is creating like a cone here. So centre boss. Lose that there. And then I'll just pick it up back there. Roll that over, twist it around. You'll know if it hit me screws because it'll go ching, 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 ching. What I'm doing is just picking up this side, rolling it over.
Steve, the ratio of thinner to paint is whatever he decides at the time. What is the ratio of thinner to paint?
Right, for a dirty pour, which that technique is called, they reckon to use 3 parts Floetrol, 3 parts Floetrol to 2 parts paint.
No way did that, no one saw that.
Oh, no one saw that. I brought it back into view.
Put it on the side camera. You're on the side camera.
I'm on the side. I don't even know what camera I'm on these days. Right, this is Floetrol. So 3 parts Floetrol, 2 parts paint, and then if you want it to move a bit easier, 1 part water. I've been messing around with sort of 3 parts Floetrol to 2 parts paint and not using the water. There's loads of techniques, I'll show you a couple of others. Now, let's move that away. So, what we can do is something like this. We could dip this out a bit more. We could put a bead in the edge here. Let's see if we can put a bead in the paint. If I've got a little spindle gouge here. That's not one. I've got everything but a little spindle gouge. Where's my little spindle gouge gone? Come on. No? I've got a spindle gouge over it. Sorry people, I thought I had a spindle gouge over here and the little
Thanks, Paul. Really appreciate it.
there we go. Thank you, Paul. Very kind of you. So I've got a little spindle gouge. And what I'm going to do is I could just frame the paint by literally grabbing the side base of my spindle gouge. Oh, got myself tangled up. There, come back the other side. Do need glasses. Can't see a thing. Right, I'll come back the other side here. Just rolling my wrist over. You can see the dust flying off of this. You can hear how hard this whole bit of oak is. Don't know how long it's been on its face plate, a while. The reason I've got my glass on, I just want to make sure I remove the paint. I think I've still got a little bit of paint on there as I come back this side. Into there like that. And now we've got a little bead. Now I haven't got rid of all the paint, it needs a bit more. It needs a bigger bead. Let's get a bit more aggressive with it. I think I've got a blunt spindle gouge. Hold on a sec. Trouble with dense old oak is it doesn't take blunt tools too well, ash fella. So just bring that bead round into there. And then I'll come back the other way. I think it'll look a bit better with white wood, but now you sort of frame the paint, you see. Now what's happened there is because the first tool was blunt, it's broken out the paint there. So you've got to make sure you've got a sharp spindle gouge and be prepared, or use a...
green paint on.
Sorry?
Cat's covered in green paint.
Our little cat's just come in. And the cat this morning was making a fuss around my ankles, so I picked it up. And I had green paint on my fingertips, so we've got a black, white and green cat now. So this will give you the idea, and you can, you know, see it with a bowl, see it with colours and all this sort of stuff. Now what I'm going to do with this piece is turn all that paint off and do another piece. But here, this was, you might be able to see that better on this camera now, this was just sort of dripped in and pulled out a bit, and you can create like a flower effect in the background. This is like a stratus effect, that's purely from the pour and moved around, and here is just a pour and it started to fragment in places. So you just play around with it, but you can get either a piece of wall art out of it or a nice, you know, coloured rim bowl, something different, takes a bit of playing around. So there we go, that is unicorn spit. Once you've done this, you could just spray it with a lacquer. I bought a can of lacquer in. So this is a satin lacquer. But I could just spray that with a lacquer. Oh, that's good, isn't it? The lacquer tin, I'm pushing the button and it's staying on.
What, Mark Pritchard, what degree should I grind my spindle gouge to make a beading tool?
It's not a beading tool, it's a spindle gouge. So what you do, this lacquer is There, so you just spray it with lacquer as a finish. You know, obviously sand.
This lacquer is highly
Yeah,
it's
it's
like car fumes.
it's acrylic, so they'll be all right. So spindle gouge. What you do realistically is you grind it with a fingernail grind. If I bring this into the shop, you see it's covered in rubbish at the moment. You won't be able to see it too well. Let me get that. The paint stuck to the back of the gouge. Let me find something to clean it with. Oliver's spit. There you go. That will get it off. I just want to get a bit of paint off of there so it's a bit clearer on the camera for you. So the paint's not completely dry even now deeper down because it's stuck to the gouge. So that's been drying for about 3 days, so you need to leave it even longer. Yeah, let's see if you see that now. It's come overhead. Ooh, that one, overhead. So we grind to a fingernail, so grind back with fingernail grind like that. Mine are ground at 45 degrees, doesn't much matter. But the fingernail grind gets rid of the corners, so when you roll it over there's nothing to catch on the corners, and it's literally an action of rub the back of the bevels centrally on the work, lift your handle, and as you lift you twist anti-clockwise left hand side, and as you come back to centre move your thumb round. So I have my thumb at 2 o'clock, lift and twist for my left hand side of my bead, come back to centre, move my thumb round to 10 o'clock, lift and twist clockwise, and that's the other side of your bead. But it's all about the lift and the timing being in sequence. It just takes a bit of practice, and then with your spindle gouge you can roll any size of bead you want with one tool. If you can't master that technique, or you don't want to stand there practicing that technique for ages, you buy yourself a set of beading tools and just push them in. But you can just do it with your spindle gouge like that, quite simply. Just make sure she's sharp and away you go. Hope that answers that. So that is dirty pour, and I've got dirty hands, but I haven't got paint all over my face today, so that's not a bad thing. So there's loads you can do with it. I'll show you a couple of other techniques, and we'll use it as a water-based stain, so you see the grain through the wood. Okay, so if everybody's happy, it's a shorter demo today because we were just doing a bit of paint and stuff. If you've got any questions at all, you're welcome to fire away. We've got Unicorn Spit, that's in stock now, part of the art department. Don't forget we've got Hamlet tools now in, and there's a 10% discount on Hamlet as a launch code. Let me come back to that camera. Launch code's coming up, it's down in the text as well. We've got Flow should be here next week, and there'll be a lot more happening on the art front. So
also, Unicorn Spit comes in a variety of different finishes, including glitter.
yeah,
For all those people excited by things that sparkle and shine.
yeah, the glitter is 14 colours plus 6 colours of glitter, so there's 20 colours of that.
Pick one up so you can actually see the size of it.
These are the 118mm, I think. 118mm. There's quite a lot of paint in there, especially if you're watering it down with Flow for a pour. You know, you'll use, I don't know, that much of your main
really
colour.
Didn't help. You'll use that much. Like
Well, I've got my hands there. You'll use sort of 10% of a tube. So you can have plenty of fun with the stuff. Thank you very much, Fred. That's very kind of you.
Thanks, Fred.
Yeah, so that's the spit. Yeah.
Will the high flow translucent paint give the same effect?
No, because the high flow translucent effect, morning Roger, if you tip them in together, they'll just merge into one because they're much thinner, so just fluid, so it'll just tip into one. This is a much thicker paint. So to get dirty pour.
Yes, Trevor, we also have a variety of stencils available at Oliver's Woodturning.
What was that?
He said, and stencils.
Oh, and stencils, yeah.
They're not actually technically our stencils, they are Nick Agar stencils.
Chromacraft Nick Agar signature series, but there'll be other stuff coming. Yeah, different paints got different consistencies, so you get different effects. So dirty pour and stuff like that, you want a thicker paint so it just don't merge into one. If you try and use spirit stains, translucent paints, airbrush paints, they're much thinner, so they just merge into one. And if you tip a lot of colours of paint together, it just becomes brown. Cheers, Stuart.
Please
Thanks
like and
for coming
subscribe. It really helps the channel, really helps promote the Oliver's Woodturning channel, helps us
Thank
carry
you,
on
James.
doing what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, the like, subscribe stuff, all that sort of thing, all helps, so don't be afraid to push like and subscribe. Cheers, Paul, thanks for stopping by. Paul Smith, question. What's, in your opinion, the best way... Question, what in your opinion is the best set of wood turning chisels you can buy? Thank you. Right. I would, if you're going for a set, I would look at the Robert Saltby 67HS because you get a bowl gouge, a spindle gouge, a skew, a spindle roughing gouge, a parting tool and a little round nose scraper. The new Hamlet sets, they do a bowl turning set as well, which is a 6-piece, so that's good. Both, what you're looking for really is a tool set that's made with M2 high speed steel, M2 HSS. M2 is a hard HSS, high speed steel, and once you sharpen it, it keeps the edge well. So that is really what you're looking for. Any M2 HSS set. Obviously I sell Robert Saltby and now Hamlet, so I would recommend Robert Saltby and Hamlet. Not being biased. But Saltby, I've used Saltby tools on my wood turning journey virtually, and I've never been able to fault them. I don't know which set would work out the better deal with the 10% off, but you know, whichever one of them two is cheaper, would be a good buy.
BB, if you're still online.
Liquitex links workhead, yeah. Oh, there's loads of things you can use. Thanks, BB.
If you're still online,
Thanks, Derek.
don't forget to do that video. Show us what happens with those poster paints. That'll be really interesting. I want to see what happens.
Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for popping by. Cheers, Roger. Thanks for popping by. Thanks, Wivey. Cheers, Shane. Half price in the summer sale. Michael, you know nothing is ever half price. And to Michael Stratton, we have a special offer. Whenever he calls up, I just double everything. It's called double Michael tax. Cheers, Nick. Thanks for popping by. Jennifer, can't see what?
Can't see you, maybe?
I'm here. Can't see the paint. Can't see. Don't know what you can't see, Jennifer. You'll have to tell us. That's it, the owner. That's it. Hamlet, you know, whatever you buy, as long as they're decent quality still, they'll be with you for years, you know. Cheers, Steve. Thanks, Paul. Cheers, Martin. Go and clean the cat. Yeah, I might. Well, no, I won't bother. She'll just run off, semi-feral. Bit like me. Had a student in yesterday with some of the cheap Chinese turning tools. I did reprofile them and put an edge on them. Had to tell him to buy new. Yeah, Pete, that's the problem. You know, when people get going, they don't know what they're buying. And the cheaper tools, they work fine. You've got to be able to sharpen them regularly because the edge just dies that much quicker. And you know what it's like. If we're turning, we want sharp tools, as demonstrated on the outside board. The dense oak, the Simon Oak gouge where I've been using it, weren't really touching it. Picked up a new sharp tool, cut it straight away. So tools go blunt very quickly. Thanks for coming by, Pete. Thank you, Malcolm. Cheers, Trevor. Thanks, Morley. Cheers, Kevin. No problem, Neil. Take care of yourself. Thank you. Colin King, you can't wait till next Saturday's Play School with Ed. Yeah, we'll really get at it. I think we'll actually start paint throwing. We might do a Pollock. Look up James Pollock if you've never heard of him.
I've never heard of James Pollock either.
And it, James
Jackson.
Pollock. Oh, Jackson Pollock. I knew it'd be done with a J. So a bit of Jackson Pollock. Yeah, we'll do a Pollock next week. You'll like that, Colin.
I won't.
You won't want all that. You'll just want a face shield. Cheers, Trevor. Thanks for popping by. Thanks, Clive. Cheers, the owner. Goodbye. Right, everybody. I'm done. You're done. We'll catch you next week. Take care.